All right, welcome back to season 6 of Wild Medicine. I am your host, Dr. Michelle Peris, and it's great to be back after a much needed unplug and step away. I'm back, and I am really feeling grateful and excited to be here. The Wild is all about tuning into what feels like truth and desire for you. And that's going to be different for all of us. And at the end of last season, there was this just massive pull to unplug and recalibrate. I've been doing this for 6 years, which I can't even believe I'm saying that. That is shocking to me. I've been doing it for 5 years. I'm going into my 6th year. Okay. Yeah, I am amazed by that. With anything, and I feel this with everything that I'm doing in any wild entity, and there are a few, just this need to make sure that everything is in alignment, that the messaging is in alignment, that we're continuing to create opportunities and content that really aligns for people who feel pulled for this type of messaging, because it is different. You may have landed here because I'm a naturopathic doctor. You may have landed here because you're interested in integrative health. Why wild medicine? What is that? So let's reconnect, shall we? Because it's been a little bit. When I discovered this idea of the wild, of rewilding, it was this really exciting opportunity where something inside me, deep inside of me, woke up. I couldn't quite put that into words. I just know I was really drawn to this type of integral living, this really tapping into what is coming up for me, what feels like truth to me, what feels alive to me, and living my life in accordance to that. In a world that feels so overwhelming, so loud, so inundating, and so opinionated, I really felt this strong pull to abandon what didn't feel like me, and to really latch onto and grow closer to what felt like visceral truth to me. And we have all survived a global pandemic together. We've been through a lot together. And the messaging of this podcast and the messaging of the Wild Collective and the messaging that I disseminate in any capacity needs to continue to grow and expand with that new deepened body of knowledge and wisdom gained from living life. And for me, when I learned about rewilding and what that meant and how I wanted to impact health and support women in my community, was really having this deep inherent trust of themselves, of myself. I really feel that there was this good girl conditioning that was bestowed upon me through years of conditioning, through nuanced and gentle conversations that police, that make sure that you stay in line, that make sure that you're not too much of anything in order to not be not palatable for people. I felt exhausted trying to make everyone else happy and trying to produce, to maintain a level of worthiness or external praise to garner my self-worth. It was exhausting. And when I read about the wild woman, that is when everything changed for me. And I was like, I could do something different with this. I want to know more about this. She sounds pretty cool, and not in a loud and showy way, in a very, deeply certain and quiet, confident way, just not needing of all the noise and willing to figure it out and trust my own internal instincts. And when I think part of the attraction to that was being in clinical practice for so many years before that opportunity happened, and really seeing how much women mistrust themselves and wanting such specific guidance in the healthcare space, right? It was, how much should I be taking? Am I doing this long enough? Like, there was really no collaboration. The healthcare and the patients I was supporting, I'm trying to see my notes. There was really, I was just not seeing this confidence naturally radiating from women. And again, I probably couldn't have articulated it this way in the beginning because I didn't understand this. I was deep in the good girl conditioning myself. So wild and being intuitive was not part of my vocabulary or acumen or confidence either, or knowing. But I did realize very early on how much guidance women really wanted in the healthcare space. And I do remember thinking, like, why are you putting so much faith and trust in someone else and zero or very little in your own knowing of what works for you? And I think that is what prompted needing to look elsewhere, because I didn't like the level of sounds derogatory, but I don't mean it, but like hand-holding. There wasn't enough internal motivation and discipline for patients to see things through. And so there was this palliation I felt that was happening with one-on-one care, where I think patients were getting this feeling of control, but not actually being in control of their own health or body. And that is what started this idea of wild. I think that's important. And why wild medicine is, I have been a lover of integrative health and naturopathic medicine since the day I discovered it. I really loved the principles and the guidelines and core values that are a part of, that are instrumental to naturopathic medicine. And I think when there is this beautiful fusion of integrative health and this idea of treating root cause, and doctors being teachers and educators and helping patients tap back into their own body and co-creating health, I was really inspired by it. It was also understanding the healing power of nature and what tools were available to us, but also helping women discover their voice and advocating for themselves and tuning into how their body was speaking to them, to understand this body intelligence that resides within and how valuable that is for the healthcare space and how valuable. And once those worlds collided, naturopathic medicine and rewilding, for me, that was the secret sauce for women's prolonged success. So not like a temporary win, but an actual like long-term building health day after day, getting the results that they desire, and then consequently ending up living a life that they desire, that enlivens them, that helps them be in the pulse. They're woke up. They in the pulse, in the pleasure, in the delight of their life. They're not going through the motions. They're not checking things off their to-do list. They're not zombieing or patterning out. They are in the pulse of their everyday, and they are delighting in the miracles and the beauty that already is. And that for me was really, really exciting. It was an exciting opportunity because it allowed women to take their power back and tap into that power and ask for what they really want and build a life by their own design and create the job and the partnership and the family that they actually desired, except instead of just tolerating what was their current circumstance. Time after time, working solely as a clinician in a one-on-one care capacity, I just couldn't get my patients there. And it wasn't my job. I mean, I don't know why I felt like I needed to take that whole responsibility on, but I really meant everything. Like, I really live by the core values of naturopathic medicine. And I love the concepts of rewilding, because I think when women understand these pieces, they start to tap into what they actually desire, how they actually are feeling, how to actually vocalize that, and then subsequently create a life by their design that they actually desire, something that excites them instead of just tolerating what is. And I think there's far too many tolerating and maintaining status quo and being afraid of speaking up or ruffling feathers or, self-policing and self-censoring so that we're not offensive or unsightly to anyone, which means that we're not impacting or making a difference anywhere. And it's such a colossal waste of your life. And I am here as living proof and a witness to so many beautiful stories of when women are brave enough to just be curious about what rewilding would mean for them. And so as we head into season 6, I come at this with a fervor for more women to live their life and from this capacity. And that's the fusion. That's the wild. That's the medicine. And when they come together, I think women become powerful forces for their own world, for their own respective community, for their own joy, for their own pleasure. And the more I do this work and the more I learn, realize how much domestication and good girl conditioning has been bestowed upon me and how much self-police and self-censor in order to appease the masses, in order to not be abandoned or rejected. And just don't want to tolerate that for any of us, myself and anyone who listens or sits in a circle with me or just happens to fall upon any of this information. To know what is possible when you stay curious is a beautiful thing. And it's a wonderful thing because it is a potent opportunity to make long-standing, meaningful change for your life. Which is what I've always wanted for women. I don't want you just to achieve health on paper, meaning we optimize your labs and we correct your digestive health or balance those hormones, if you will, or whatever you want to say. But you actually, that healing that happens as a result of having better digestion or better self-regulation or better nervous system support or, abandonment of burnout and, aligning with your cyclical rhythm and using or leveraging your hormones as your superpower. You're taking that information and benefit from having acquired all those parts of yourself and now are doing really powerful things in this world, being of service, generously leading, showing up in enlivened, seems to be the word of the day, fashion, where your cup is full and your energy is expansive. There is this collaborative energy that shifts, whether it's your local community or your massive community at large. There's this beautiful impact and shift that happens as a result of women knowing their power, knowing their worth, aligning and gaining health and energy and using that to propel their mission. That is what I'm about. So, as a refresher, as a way to set the tone for what is to come, and how to deepen the message for you if you've been here for a while. How a woman reclaims her wild is through 3 very simple strategies. The first is what we call reclaiming body literacy. It's deepening an understanding of your body and its signals. It involves tuning into your physical sensations. So what would that mean for you? What would be possible if you understood how your body spoke to you? Instead of resisting a sensation and feeling frustrated by it, like bloating, like feeling exhausted, saying, what is this symptom trying to show me? I think the beautiful opportunity I get sitting in wild circles with women is I get this opportunity to help them see this differently. How much your body loves you and is trying to inform you what is aligning for you and what is a misalignment or not working for you, is the most beautiful gift. And most of us spend our life resisting and being resentful of what's coming up because we keep looking outside for solutions when the body has been informing you all along. And when we have an opportunity to bestow a different vocabulary and a different opportunity to see that messaging differently, we get to change the trajectory of our lives. And I fully believe that. Instead of assigning and adhering to anxiety and making it mean something about you or something that's not working, is getting curious is, what is it trying to show me? Where am I living out of balance? Where do I have unexpressed enthusiasm for something that is presenting as anxiety? Where am I overscheduling or doing instead of? It's such an invitation to, one, know yourself better, and two, to live in a different way, a more coherent way, which is my goal. And I think the coherence and the alignment happens when we understand our body's signals. And that means that we need to come back to the basics. We need to come back to the foundation of what is. How is your body informing you about what coherence is for you and what incoherence is for you? And it is simple. These sound like complex words, but it's not complex. It's understanding how your body is using physical sensations to inform. And when you take the time to stay curious and learn, all of this information is just a natural consequence of tuning in. When you understand the power of your menstrual cycle and your cyclical rhythm and understanding how your body responds to different situations, the thing is that we all speak the language of, like, I'll apply my body, of visceral reactions. Like, we all understand that, yet we don't maybe know how to tap into or interpret or understand why that's coming up for us. But whenever I talk to women, like, have you trusted your gut? Have you ever walked into a room and felt unsafe or felt like a person, was someone that it wouldn't be safe to share your secrets with? Like, we all know that feeling. And yet we don't ask the question, what is that feeling trying to show me? Am I going to trust myself enough to take action on that sensation? How many times have we put ourselves in situations and we're like, because of years of very nuanced programming, said yes to something or said nothing, stayed silent, and did something because we felt we should, instead of it being like an electrified full body, hell yes, I want to do this. If you were told to finish your plate, I know I use these examples. If you've been here for a while, bless you. I've had these things 1,000 times. If you were told to finish your plate, even though you felt totally satisfied by the food that you ate, or you were told to hug somebody and you did not feel safe, but you had to override your sensation telling you yes or no to something to appease your caregivers, you were part of this good girl conditioning or this domestication process that is pulling you from your innate wisdom. So no kidding, you're confused. No kidding when someone asks you, what do you really desire? Like, I don't know. Whose life am I actually living? My caregivers and their expectations, or a life that actually enlivens me? The theme of the summer for me was, what feels alive for me, and chase it. That actually builds a beautiful life is feeling alive in your life. It doesn't mean that you wake up and there's flowers everywhere, because maybe that's beauty to me. It means that I choose to be in the pulse of the moment and see the beauty that already exists. That's the beautiful life. And it's very hard to do that if you're so like you're not alive. And you know what I mean? I mean, you have a pulse. Obviously, you're alive. You're listening to this. I mean, alive in your day. You're not just existing. You're alive. You're enlivened by your life. You are in the glory. You're in the awe of your own life. That's what we're trying to do. And when we tap you back into your physical sensations, that has a return on investment that allows you to tap into the other sensations going on around you. And it helps you trust yourself. And it helps find this coherence and alignment because you are noticing the sensations, you are curious about the sensations, and then you're acting in accordance with what feels like coherence for you. And all of a sudden, things start to work out in a way. And you feel so deliriously happy with things, even if things are not actually working out. It's like you still can appreciate the beauty of the challenge, the beauty of the day, that you can have gratitude in what is actually working. It's this beautiful life. And that, I have such a fervor for women to give themselves permission to live from that space and not apologize for it. Body literacy empowers you to make informed decisions about your health and well-being, fostering stronger connections to your physical self. For many of us who have been programmed, who have been domesticated, who relate to this good girl conditioning, right? We maintain the status quo. We don't get mad. Like, we are pleasant. We don't, trigger. We don't have too strong of emotions. We color inside the lines, When you start to tap into your physical body and understand its language and how it serves, that allows for you to build stronger connections with people and have beautiful relationships. It allows you to have stronger connection to your mission and purpose. It allows for you to be generous with your resources. It literally changes the stratosphere. So for me, the foundation is understanding your body better. And most of us need to go back to school because most of us were never taught any of this. Sometimes our burnout and our exhaustion comes from working against our innate nature. It's not that there's too much or things are too hard. We love to go, I get that, Michelle, but like there's no more time. Like, how can I do this when I'm already abundant? The better question to say is how I'm spending my time currently working against my innate power. And when you learn about how you were designed to thrive, you can really start to ask better questions and make more aligned decisions for yourself, where not everything has to radically change, and yet you feel so differently. You have abundant energy. You are aligned with your cyclical nature, and you do not feel bad or guilty about needing rest equal to your productivity. You stop living in accordance to societal expectations, and you start tuning in and trusting what is for you. And that's going to look different for you versus someone else. And we don't know that until you get deeply curious about the woman you are. And then you can start to build a life and expectations around that, not the latest trend on Instagram trying to hijack your dopamine and make you feel bad or unworthy about yourself. If we tolerate that for ourselves, we're going to spend our life chasing trend after trend after trend. It's exhausting. And there is a more aligned way. And it starts with coming back to the basis, the foundation of who you are and how you were designed to thrive. Connection. Our next really important factor with reclaiming your wild, of rewilding, of stepping away from the domestication process, or breaking up with the good girl conditioning, or that hyper-independent, high-achieving woman. So many of you are. I see you. I'm with you. I care about this because I am a student for life of this connection. It's about strengthening the connection to your inner self, how your body informs you, your body's innate intelligence, and the world around you. This episode is brought to you by the Wild Collective. Listen up. We have a really exciting opportunity happening, and I wanted to make sure that you were the first to know all about it. On September 17th, Tuesday, September 17th, from 6:30 until 9:30, we are hosting an in-person retreat. It's called Awaken Your Wild, From Burnout to Bliss, and this retreat is intended to invite women in, new women into our world to experience the power and potency of the Wild Collective, of community and connection, of health education, of experiential and embodiment practices like biofield tuning and meditation. This is a whole evening curated to celebrate you, the woman that you are, so that you can see what's possible when you infuse your life with community, with health-inspired information, with walking the path with other like-minded women. We love hosting retreats, and this one is curated specifically to women who are new to our world. Maybe you've been sitting on the sidelines for a while and you want to learn more about the Wild Collective, about community, or maybe you're just like ready to try a retreat that has lots of chocolate, but also an incredible evening focused on helping you have tools to go from burnout to bliss. If you felt depleted, tired, struggling, stick to your goals and get the health that you desire and the vibrancy you know is there. You just need to come back to her. This retreat is for you. We have priced it at $5. It is so inexpensive to come and try us out for an evening. And we are going to share with you tools and tactics to help you recover from burnout, but also share with you the magic of our incredible global community, the Wild Collective. So if you are ready, go to the show notes, click the link, and save yourself a spot. Because it's in person, seating is limited. So do not wait, and I cannot wait to connect with you in person. I'll see you soon. When you are connected to what is happening, when you are back in your body, you start to really have this level of presence and this capacity to see the beauty that already is. For many of us who endured this domestication process, we left our body because if we were not allowed to fully alchemize our emotions, and I'm not saying this is anybody's fault, this is also a societal thing. We don't like big emotions. We don't see them, often shut them down. As kids, we were told it's not that bad. And so we're afraid to alchemize things. And so we live in our head, we live above it, we're not tapped into. So as we start to connect with ourselves, as we start to understand the body's signals, it becomes a bit safer, especially with the right skills that you might be acquiring around breath work and meditation and tuning in stillness and journaling, vision boarding, and all these beautiful things. You start to strengthen this connection with the world and yourself. It's beautiful. We can use practices like meditation, journaling, spending time in nature, connecting to that inner wisdom in the natural world. You rediscover your authentic desires and passions, guiding you towards a more fulfilling life. What I have learned sitting in hundreds of women's circles, of wild circles, is how important it is to tap back into our desires. And what I've learned is desires are not something you come up with. Desires are bestowed upon you, and it's your job to uncover them and to bring them forward into the world. When you suppress your desires, as you've probably learned, they don't go away because they are there. And if you spend a lifetime ignoring them, you just increase your frustration and resentment and numbness, do you not? What would it be like to see it differently? What would a life guided by your desires look like? And it might be so out of your wheelhouse right now to even let that sink in for a minute, right? Like it might be so out of what feels possible because you are so dutiful. Is that the dude that it might feel like an outrageous, audacious ask? Of course, right? Because who are you to dream? Especially if you heard your parents, your caregivers, those around you from a very early age talk about being dutiful, talking about the responsible career, choosing the retirement plan, taking the bait of the bargain that is perceived security instead of letting yourself dream. Those dreams unpack our desires. They guide us to what we really want. And if you feel super disconnected from this, you can start to look at the things you complain about most. And you flip it, it's probably going to give you what you actually want, what your desires actually are. You care enough to complain about it because there are needs unmet. Get more curious. Get connected. Because a more fulfilling, energizing, aligned, peaceful, relaxed life is the consequence of being that curious. And isn't that super exciting for you? Right? Isn't that so, so, so exciting? It is, because it is. Because most of us feel exhausted because we're going against what we actually want. We're doing the things we think we should. We're saying the things that are making us appealing to everybody else except for ourselves. There's so many things, so many ways in which this programming happens without our conscious awareness. And the more I do this work, I'm like, oh my gosh, the level of self-policing and self-censorship that I have bestowed upon myself is shocking. And you have these moments of like, whose life am I living? Who am I trying to make happy? You know? And I'm missing out on the beauty that is my life. I have a beautiful life. And if I'm hyper-focused on other things, I am missing out on the beauty that is actually already there. And what a waste. What a colossal waste. And the third thing is community. And this is the thing, I won't stop talking about it. My whole practice is based around how do we get people in communion with each other? Because the results, because the support, because the longevity that occurs when we put like-minded people together is exponential. You need to get it in your head. It's that important. It needs to be a must-have, a priority. If you are not prioritizing social connection at this point, you are missing out on so much, and likely mostly joy. I was thinking about this. Ask yourself how often you're having belly laughs. Because if you're not belly laughing frequently enough, you have a connection problem. Belly laughs for me come from true presence and enjoyment of a moment spent in collaboration with someone else. It's always in community. It is always around playfulness, and belly laughs are the most therapeutic opportunity. I can't even think of anything better than a good belly laugh. And if you haven't had that in a really long time, you need to prioritize social connection. And you need to stop taking things so seriously. By the way, that message is also for me. Although I have a lot of belly laughs, I can get very serious about life. And like too serious, right? Get over yourself, right? It's not so dang important. Surround yourself with a supportive, like-minded community. If you have goals, and I imagine you do, or desires, put yourself in environments where it is going to be, where your success is going to be supported and celebrated. People will collaborate with you to make it happen. Building connections with others who share your values and passion can provide encouragement, inspiration, and a sense of belonging. Those feel like jet fuel to the soul. I can't think of anything more powerful. There's no more powerful a medicine than that. Community offers a safe space to express your true self and explore your wild nature without judgment. Let me tell you, it is very difficult. You're not all of a sudden going to go out into the real world and start using your voice if you've not practiced it in a safe space. You're going to pattern out because it's how you've always done it. And the huge advantage of a wild circle is the opportunity to learn, grow, and evolve so that you can take those skills and use them to do good in the world and to build a life by your own desires, a life that is unique to you, that enlivens you, that allows you to be in the pulse and the beauty of your own life so that you feel so electrified that you cannot wait to be of generous service to others. What a blessing. And that is not possible without community. I am certain of that. Reclaiming your wild is about returning to her authentic self. It is not about acquiring anything new. She's already there. She already resides within you. It's about letting her out. It's about rediscovering her and not apologizing for that beautiful woman that resides within. It's about embracing your passions and living a life that truly resonates to your intuitive joy spirit, to your intuition. It's a path to healing from burnout and rediscovering the joy and fulfillment that comes from living in alignment with your true nature. What would that look like for you? You won't know unless you ask yourself better questions. It feels really good to be back. I hope that this platform is an opportunity or a soundboard for you to take wild action, inspired action, to do something that enlivens you, something that helps you commune or come in better communication with your own body signals, to feel connected to yourself or the world around you, or to prioritize social connection. There are very few things that are more important than any of those aspects. And when we heal ourselves, those around us heal and benefit from that. You want to end intergenerational patterns and traumas and scarcity. It starts with you, and it starts with taking radical responsibility, not pointing a finger, but taking that on and taking one inspired step. And just letting your life beautifully unfold exactly as it should, and trusting the process. And here's what I'm going to say. It feels good to be back. I want to invite you, if you are new to our world, if you have been wanting to sit in a wild circle, I have a really special, amazing, epic opportunity for you. And I don't like that word because it's overused, but I mean it. We have curated a really special retreat event for those who are new to our world. We are offering an evening retreat, an opportunity for you to really learn what we're all about, why you would join us in a wild circle, and to be deeply celebrated and supported. All you need is to be curious. It's going to be a really fun night. We're going to be talking about burnout archetypes. We're going to be using techniques. We're going to have amazing events. We're going to have amazing speakers. It's going to be a really fun event. And there is a chocolate fountain. If that's not enough, there's also a chocolate fountain. And I want to say this. I really love sitting in a wild circle. I really believe in how I'm helping and supporting women, or how we are as facilitators. And I really want to work with women who want this for themselves, who are curious. You don't need to know all the answers. You don't need to know if this even aligns. Just be curious. But I will say this, your best life is curated by the actions you take. And if Wild Collective is something that you've been sitting on the fence for a really long time, I'm here to tell you that we're only opening the doors now once a year. We have space for everyone, but we're only opening the doors once a year. I am going to honor my own energy and know what I have capacity for. And that is what I have capacity for. I love to fully engross myself in a wild circle, put my entire energy in supporting women. I know what we have, and what we have is incredible, and it's collaborative and it's co-created. I love sitting in wild circles, and that's where my energy needs to be. And so I'm going to open the doors for anyone new, and you are so welcome, you are so worthy, and you are so deserving of such invigorating moment where it is all about you. And for me to be able to be the best facilitator I can be, and to put my energy where it needs to be directed, we are only opening the doors once a year. We used to do it 3 times a year. And so I think there was a lot of people out there who were like, I'll just join the next one. There's no such thing anymore. It's once a year. In September, we open the doors, and that is your only opportunity. And I want to say, if the opportunity comes into your awareness, it's because you're meant to take action on it now. And don't put off till next year what ought to be done this year, because you're just delaying the inevitable. And you should never assume that things will be around. I can't guarantee if women don't join, then the wild as we know it will not be a thing. Wild is created on the women who sit there and engage and stay curious. And so if this feels like alignment for you, the time truly is now. And there has been no better opportunity to come check us out and learn more about our world, our sisterhood, the experience, the benefits, the connection, the innovation and opportunities that come on the other side of this. You will be showered and adored and cared for and nurtured. And if that feels so unfamiliar to you, then why don't you just give it a try? There's never been an easier time. So head over to the show notes, go register for our event. It's going to be a magical evening, and it would be an honor to serve you in this capacity. And I am so grateful and excited to support you and your friends and anyone who wants to sit in our circle, because I know the power. And I freaking love this work. It's wonderful. And your health and your life and your relationships, everything gets better when you choose to do something like this, because of how fundamental it is for women to be collaborative and curious in this capacity. So I hope to see you there. Stay wild, and I'll see you next week.